All right, I had a great question from one of the guys that I coach. And, you know, at the moment, we're here in quarantine and not able to meet with our players. And so he kind of said, "Hey, coach, could you educate us a little bit on defenses?" And it was a great question and something that we don't do enough of with the offensive linemen that we coach. So today we're going to just go over the basics of four down defenses. Um, there's, in my opinion, only three defensive fronts that can be played in football. There's four down, there's three down, and there's bear. Okay, so today we're just going to talk about four down defenses, the problems that they present to us as offensive linemen, and the advantages that they give us as offensive linemen. So let's first just start by talking about the 4-2 defense. All right, so there's four down linemen. Now, they're not always going to be in 3-point stances. They could be in 2-point stances. They're allowed to do that, okay? There's four down linemen and two linebackers in the box. So we just call this the 4-2 defense. Okay? Now, why do defensive coordinators, why do teams like playing four down defense? Well, one advantage that a four down defense gives is it creates a very simple one gap responsibility. So in this 4-2 structure, you're going to get a lot of five technique defensive ends. That means outside shade of the tackle. Here, whether you call him head up or inside of the tight end, a million different names for it, but he's a defensive end. You're generally going to have a three technique somewhere and a one technique or two eye technique, okay, A gap player. So here, we have a pretty simple defensive structure where this player is playing the A gap. This player is playing the B gap. This player is playing the C gap. This player is playing this A gap. The three technique is playing this B gap. And this defensive end is going to play the C gap. Now there's safeties and there's another linebacker, but that's basically the one gap philosophy behind a four down defense. So when they get run action, they can plug really fast. Okay, and they have all their gaps accounted for. So that would be the advantage that you get in a 4-2. Now let's talk about a 4-3. Okay, so now the offense in this picture has added another tight end. So the defense has simply brought in that linebacker that used to be outside the box into the box, but it still turns into a math equation, okay, of one gap responsibilities. So let's go inside out. This 2I, he's an A gap player. Okay. I'm thinking this Mike Backer is going to play this A gap. The three technique looks like he's in the B gap. Okay. This linebacker looks like he's looking at the B gap. This player looks like he's playing outside. This player looks like he's playing in the C gap. And then this defensive end is going to clean up anything, either C gap or D gap, and then the safety can fit off it. Now that's what we call run fits, one gap for one player. So again, when they get a run action, they can get downhill and make some plays. Okay, so that's the main advantage of playing a four down defense, is it makes it very easy to play one gap football. Okay, now what advantage does that give us? Well, as an offensive lineman, the thing that we like about four down defenses is we have a general idea of where these players are going to go. Okay, so this player looks like he's staying outside. Okay, this player looks like he's playing in here. This three technique looks like he's playing in the B gap. This Mike Backer looks like he's playing in this A gap, right? So for the most part, we have a good understanding of where a lot of these inside players are going to go. Now that leaves this area here. Nobody's standing in it. Okay? So that tells us that this player is going to come in. So as an offensive lineman, when you're facing a 4-down defense, just know that open space is going to get eliminated. So this left guard and center and left tackle here, they're on the play side of a zone scheme. They know that these open gaps are going to get filled. Okay? So if you play with your eyes up against a 4-down defense, you're going to see blitzes, you're going to see the run fits. Okay? So as we take our first step as an offensive lineman and we have our eyes up, it plays itself out and we can climb to the defenders that are our responsibility. Again, a 4-down defense just makes it a little easier to see where they're going to be. Okay. Okay, another thing that we like about the 4-down defense is a lot of times, since there's 4 down linemen and 2 or 3 linebackers, it makes it an advantage for the offense to get the ball on the edge either with a quick pass or an outside running play. So as these players all fit downhill for the run hard, we can get the ball on the edge. And that gives our skinny guys the ability to go make some good, easy yards. Okay. So now let's look at another way to take advantage of that. You might notice your coaches like RPOs or play action passes against 4-down defenses. That again is because these players are all downhill fast. So there's some wide open space behind those linebackers because they're responsible for that gap in the run game. Okay, so what are some things that defenses like to do with a 4-down system? Well, another advantage that a defense has in a 4-down system is they can move these rushers around. Okay, since there's already 4 defensive linemen, they get to rush 4 players at the quarterback without blitzing. Okay, so they see that as an advantage. I, again, see that as an offensive line's advantage because we know where at least 4 of the rushers are coming from. But this here on this offensive line's right side, I like to call it tech stunt, tackle and cross. So they like to move around, but if we play with our eyes up and we're anticipating those line stunts and games, we can pick it up and allow our quarterback to have an easy conversion. Okay, let's talk about blitzes. So now, if you have 4-down linemen, there's a few blitzes that you're going to like. The first one, very popular, is for the Sam linebacker, this outside backer to blitz. And what they're hoping is the offensive line doesn't look out to this guy. Okay, and Indiana here playing Michigan, they catch him. So the backer sneaks in, and he blitzes, and the offensive line, the tight end, nobody accounts for him. That's an easy sack for that player. Okay, so when we are playing against a 4-down defense, they're not going to blitz as often as 3-down defenses will. They don't need to because they already have 4 guys at the line, but they will. Okay, now, again, 4-down defenses give things away, which is great. We got to see how far this backer is out of the box. Just like we saw in the earlier clip on the rundown, defenses are not going to give you these giant gaps. Okay, this is too much space. Some movement is going to happen here. So as number 47 creeps outside the box, and this backer starts creeping into the line, either the offensive lineman or the tight end needs to account for that blitzer. And they just don't do it, right? So again, when you're playing against a 4-down defense, you have to remember to look out to those outside linebackers and see where they're going to go. Another great blitz that four down structures like is to just plug gaps with these inside backers. The Mike and the Will just blowing up the A gaps. This is a run blitz. They're just trying to stuff the run. Now the offense had an RPO on so they can get the ball out. Okay, again, just the two inside backers are going to blow up the A gaps, and that means that this inside defensive tackle, the 2I, he needs to vacate that gap. He needs to go play the B gap. So now they have one gap per guy covered. So, as we said, the four down defense, it does give things away. We can get advantages, which is great. So, this specific defense, they've been playing with a 2I. Okay, here's the 3 technique. Here's the 2I. He's been closer to the guard the whole time that this game's been going on. But now suddenly he's closer to the center. He's a shade, a 1 technique. Okay, so that should send the alarm bells to the offensive line, and they should communicate, hey, be ready for some kind of movement or blitz, because this is not normal. This is not how this defense usually plays. So as this guy gets tighter to the center, okay, we don't know who's going to blitz, but we know that something is going to happen. Sure enough, he crosses the center's face, and number 17 blitzes. So in a perfect world, we'd like this center and guard to communicate to the tackle, we think someone is blitzing, be ready for the blitz. And if he's ready for the blitz, the tight end here would be responsible for it. If he's ready for the blitz and he can get inside, get his head inside, they might have a big running play here. So we got to use that advantage that they're giving us. Okay, and then just to review, as an offensive lineman, we're excited when we see a four down defense because for the most part, we have a better idea of who's playing which gaps. And for example, in this zone play, we're all stepping to the left. If we know who's going to end up in our area, we know who to block. And that can result in some big running lanes for the running back. And we like that. Okay, so that's a little bit about the four down defense. It's a very standard defense. You're seeing a lot of variations of it nowadays. Some people say 4-2-5, 4-3. You used to see the 4-4 defense. But overall, these principles are going to carry over to most four down defenses. The different blitzes they like, the different movement keys that we can get, and the advantages that it gives us.